Hello everyone, this is Mario, welcome back to my channel and welcome to episode 8 of my Evian Castelli career on Pro Cycling Manager. This will be the final episode of Season 1 and we will play the end of season classics, 8 races in total that we are going to play. Most of them are basically flat. The only hilly classic that we are playing is the Tre Valli Varesine. Plenty of chances for the sprints and plenty of chances for me to bottle them. After the races I'm going to do a short recap on how the season went for us and also have a look at the list of transfers for 2024. We are starting with the Maryland Cycling Classic, the only race we are playing in America in the entire season, and we are facing Gauthieras. We have beaten him before with Jérémy Lecroc this season. We do have Peter Sagan here. If it was old Peter Sagan, he would probably be the clear favorite for this one. We are approaching the Maryland Classic with Andrew August, Alexis Brunel, Alexis Gouchard, Jérémy Lecroc, Brodie McDonald, Riley Sheehan, and Luca Wackerman. And of course, obviously, Jérémy Lecroc is on a -2 today. On the other hand, or on the bright side, Brodie McDonald is on a +5, and being an American, riding in America, let's try to make it a great day for him. I think only in America you could have a climb named as Gunpowder Road. Today I did not send anyone in the breakaway. We have 7 riders up the road, almost 6 minutes ahead of everyone, and we are now in the final 20 kilometers of this race, and my computer is starting to struggle the same way. My riders appear to be struggling slightly to get to the front of the peloton, but we do now get to the front. I have my sprint train already set. We still have the 7 riders from the breakaway a minute ahead. I think we are going to catch them as a few riders are trying to attack, trying to get away in the final few kilometers. There are plenty of corners, and now with 9.5 kilometers to go and we still have 55 seconds to the riders up the road, are they going to be able to contend? There are plenty of corners then, and this really helps them out. And we are now in the final 4 kilometers. We are not going to make this. There are still 40 seconds to the rider up the road. It's Herzog is the only rider left. We are in the final 2.5 kilometers with a few corners. Let's start sprinting with Wackerman. Hopefully this is going to work for us. Let's go with Lecroc. There are too many corners and we are not going to catch the rider that is up the road. Let's wait a little bit longer with McDonald, and the win is for Herzog in the breakaway. And in second we have Emil Leipens and Matteo Moschetti in third. Jérémy Lecroc was my lead out, ended up being my best rider, finishing in 6th. And so I think this was the perfect start for my saga of bottling more sprints. The corners at the end really did not help out my train and the sprint. Let's hope for better results in the next ones. And now going for the Grand Prix de Fourmies. In this one we are facing some really tough opponents: Mads Pedersen, Arnaud Delis, Jasper Philipsen. It's going to be really tricky to win, and I think I'm going to attempt a strategy that was, I already thought about it, I tried to do it sometimes, but it was again suggested in one of the comments in one of my videos. I'm going to try to put my best sprinter at the back of one of the main trains for the final sprint, and hopefully that will give me a better chance to take the win. This time Evian Castelli is going with Andrew August, Rémi Capron, Alexis Gouchard, Jérémy Lecroc, Riley Sheehan, Oliviero Troia, and Luca Wackerman. And so this time, apart from Riley Sheehan, all my riders are feeling very strong, including Jérémy Lecroc on a +5 day. It takes his sprint up to 77. Let's make this work this time, guys. And so with about 50 kilometers still to go, we have a group of 9 up the road. They are a little bit over 2 minutes ahead of the peloton. Not a strong group. Ladagnu is here, but as I said, I'm going to try to follow one of the main trains for this one. So we now have 21 kilometers left. I do have a train set for Lecroc, but the goal is not really to lead him out for the final sprint. I just want to keep him in a good position at the front and then try to choose a wheel. Maybe Mads Pedersen is going to be my choice. So with 10 kilometers to go and with a few more attacks going, this is what I'm trying to do. I have Gouchard, Wackerman and Troia at the front of the peloton, leading out the peloton, but having Jérémy Lecroc on the wheel of Mads Pedersen. Hopefully this is going to work, although Jasper Philipsen is also trying to get on the wheel of Mads Pedersen. and the train by little track is basically behind mine. But yeah, let's see if this works out a little bit better for us this time. Let's go with Luca Wackerman now at 90. I can actually push it a little bit more. Let's go at 95 with him. Using the energy gel on Troya, let's use it on Jérémy Lecroc with 5 kilometers to go. Let's try something new. Now with 3 kilometers to go, Luca Wackerman is done. Let's go with Troya, and let's maybe start sprinting with him. At this point, I have Jérémy Lecroc on the wheel of Mats Pedersen, and with 1 point something kilometers to go, let's launch him. Is not going to get it. I mean, it was not a bad idea, but I launched way too late, and he's going to finish 6th, I think. Yeah, Jérémy Lecroc 6th. This was slightly downhill at the end. I could have launched way sooner. Mats Pedersen was the perfect wheel because he ended up winning. I enjoyed doing it like this. We don't get the win, but I actually enjoyed using this tactic. It allowed for Jérémy Lecroc to be in a good position at the end. Usually when I do my own sprint train, it doesn't really work that way. Obviously, when Mats Pedersen went for the sprint, Lecroc didn't have enough to follow on his wheel, and he ends up finishing 6th. It's not a bad result. If I do this more often, maybe I get a few more wins. Next up, we have the Grand Prix d'Isbergues, Pas de Calais. And again, we are not among the top 10 favorites. 204 kilometers, it's completely flat. I mean, there are a few hills, but they are not going to cause a lot of trouble. And let's try to use the same strategy as we did in the previous one and hope for a better result with Jérémy Lecroc. For this one, in which we are required to finish in the top 10, we are going with Andrew August, Alexis Brunel, Alexis Gougeard, Jérémy Lecroc, Brodie McDonald, Pierre Thierry, and Oliviero Troya. This is surely going to be confusing at the end because the finish and start lines are just next to each other, and I'm surely going to be confused and sprint earlier or later or whatever, and I'm gonna bottle it. We have Jérémy Lecroc on a +5 once again. The other riders are not as well as in the previous one, but again, the goal is to follow a strong sprint and try to do my best with Lecroc. If we win, that would be great. And so with 25 kilometers to go, we are still chasing 11 riders up the road. They are a minute ahead. There were 13 riders in the breakaway group initially, 2 have dropped down. So as I said, I'm going to try something similar to what I did in the previous one. So I'll have a short train to lead out the peloton, but then I'll put Lecroc on the wheel of one of the sprinters. I see Max Walscheid, also Nasser Bouhanni, Gautera is also an option. I'll have to look around and pick a wheel. We are now entering the final 10 kilometers. This is again very tricky, a very tricky handing with loads of corners. I'm already going at 95 with Gougeard, still 45 seconds to the 2 riders up the road, Mifsud and Whitehead. I think they are going to be eventually caught. Let's go to Brunel now and use the energy gel on Troya. Lecroc is on the wheel of Nasser Bouhanni. I'm not sure that's the best wheel, but I mean, it's the one I picked. I'm going to stick with it for now. And we are going all out with Alexis Brunel. Bouhanni is in a good position. This is a group of only 20 riders at the moment. Let's go all out with Troya now. Let's put Brunel in automatic. He can move out of the way. Let's start sprinting with Troya very soon. Let's go with him now just to try to force the others to go. In the final 1.5 kilometers, let's maybe start sprinting at this point. Maybe I was a little bit too early with the sprint. Lecroc behind Bouhanni. Bouhanni is going to take the win. Once again, I pick the proper wheel, but I failed to win. Bouhanni wins ahead of Pierre Gautera, and Jérémy Lecroc finishes on the podium in 3rd. I'm liking this. I am really enjoying approaching the sprints the way I've been doing in this past 2 races. It's a really fun way to play them, and honestly, I'm getting good results. Jérémy Lecroc finishing on the podium, so completing the sponsor objective once again. It was tricky in the end because there were plenty of corners. I had a bit of energy remaining, but I mean, Bouhanni is a clearly faster sprinter than Jérémy Lecroc, and Gautera is faster as well. It's all about fine-tuning this strategy, and maybe I can get some wins at some point. It's now time for Paris-Chauny, and again we are facing some really tough opponents with Jasper Philipsen, the clear favorite for this one. I'm most likely going to follow his wheel at the end. For this race, we are taking Rémi Capron, Alexis Goujard, Jérémy Lecroc, Brodie McDonald, Pierre Thierry, Oliviero Troia, and Luca Wackerman. The sun is shining and Jérémy Lecroc is on a +3. Not as good as his +5 in the previous two, but still pretty awesome to have him in a good race day condition. We are, as I mentioned, going to try to follow one of the other sprinters, most likely Jasper Philipsen. We now have 22 kilometers left and we have 9 riders up the road, still a minute ahead as we cross the finish line with some really weird things on the road. Yeah, those could cause some punctures for sure. Let's try to push with Alexis Goujard, with Lecroc on the back of my train, but I will soon try to find Jasper Philipsen to put Lecroc on his wheel. And now with 8.5 kilometers to go, we are still a minute behind the riders up the road. And I'm not sure we are going to be able to catch them. No other teams are doing anything. Jasper Philipsen is not in the best position. He is now having some of his teammates doing a little bit of work to try to get him back to the front. Lecroc is on his wheel. So hopefully the Alpecin train is going to be able to move to the front as Troia is almost done and things are not looking great. We are in the final 5 kilometers. Let's use the energy gel on Lecroc. 30 seconds still. 3 kilometers up to 99. Can we still do it? Lecroc is so far down. Philipsen is in a terrible position. This is not going to work for us. Let's sprint with Wackerman, but Lecroc is nowhere. He is absolutely nowhere. What the heck happened to his wheel? Like, Philipsen is way up the road, I think. Actually, I don't see where he is. Matteo Moschetti takes the win ahead of Arvid de Kleen. Where is Jasper Philipsen? And so, yeah, we actually beat Jasper Philipsen. Lecroc was 41st and Jasper Philipsen 42nd only. So apparently this is not always a guarantee that the sprint is going to go well for us. I don't know what happened with Philipsen and Alpecin's train. And you want to know what the sad part is? At some point, I saw that Movistar was actually doing a very decent train and Gaviria was in a good position. I thought about swapping to his wheel. He finished 5th. Before moving on with more racing, I played the European Championships off camera and Pipo Ganna won the time trial, so he's going to be the world and European champion for the next season. Wout van Aert was 2nd ahead of Theo Gegenhardt. The best I got with a French rider was Julien Alaphilippe, he was 9th. In the road race, I finished 2nd with Anthony Turgis, behind Fabio Jakobsen, who revalidated his European champion title, but I was definitely not trying to go for Anthony Turgis. There are 2 hills in this race. They are very short, but right next to each other, and those caused a lot of splits in the peloton. I was honestly trying to win this one with Axel Laurens. He was in the team, and as he's going to be in Evian Castelli, I wanted to make him the European champion. I couldn't make it happen because he got dropped behind in one of the splits. Anthony Turgis was not my bet, but yeah, he finished on the podium. Another race I want to show you is La Vuelta. Tadej Pogacar won it, and again the gaps are massive. Enric Mas was 2nd, 7 minutes behind, and then Sergio Higuita was 11 minutes and 32 seconds behind. But the biggest shock is that at 39 years old and about to retire from cycling, Luis Leon Sanchez finished 4th in a Grand Tour. Oh, so this was how he did it. He won the Alto de Langliru stage from the breakaway, and he took about 9.5 minutes to most of the GC contenders. Focusing back on races, we have the Tour de Vendée, and again, we are possibly going to follow the wheel of Nasser Bouhanni. It worked pretty okay the last time we did it, so let's try to repeat that. Evian Castelli is going to enter in the Tour de Vendée with Rémi Capron, Alexis Goujard, Jérémy Lecroc, Brodie McDonald, Riley Sheehan, Oliviero Troia, and Luca Wackerman. And now starting the Tour de Vendée, and we have a rainy day with Jérémy Lecroc on a +1 race day condition, and the story of this one is basically the same as in the other classics. With about 38 kilometers to go, we have about 2 minutes between a group at the front with 9 riders and the peloton. we have a really high tempo, and I've been looking at Nasser Bouhanni. He has been quite active at the front, working a bit, I mean, and I think that their main leader, their main sprinter, is going to be Hugo Hofstetter, so I'll probably have to follow him instead of Bouhanni. And Arkea is probably trying to trick me because now they have Nasser Bouhanni on the wheel of Hugo Hofstetter. Let's go to Luca Wackerman as we are about to catch the riders in the breakaway. 8.5 kilometers left. And now on the final 4 kilometers, Luca Wackerman going all out. Now it's time for Olivier Rotreuil to push at the front of the peloton with Jérémy Lecroc still on the wheel of Nasser Bouhanni. I am going to start sprinting with Olivier Rotreuil. At this point, we are going downhill. Let's wait a little bit longer with Brodie McDonald. Let's go with him. Lecroc is in a good position, but maybe a little bit too far behind, and this is downhill. I'm not going to take it, but I am with Brodie McDonald. He beats Pierre Barbier. I was not expecting this. I'm starting to regret a bit not renewing Brodie McDonald's contract, but maybe this win will help him get a nice, decent contract for 2024. And now for a little change of pace, we are heading to Italy for Tre Valli Varesine. We are going to have a very tricky and hilly race with Alessandro Covi, Tom Pidcock, and Alex Vlasov as the main favorites. Actually, I don't really know how they are the main favorites when we have Remco Evenepoel in this one. The start list is ridiculously strong, and to face those strong riders, we are going to take Andrew August, Rémi Capron, Maxime Chevalier, Simone Ravanelli, Pierre Thierry, Olivier Rotreuil, and Luca Wackerman. So for this one, we have a mixed bag of race day conditions. Simone Ravanelli could potentially be the leader, but he's on a -5, so he's going to be a domestic today. I thought about taking Rémi Capron in the breakaway, but he was a bit far behind in the peloton, so I dropped that idea. I think my leaders are going to be either Maxime Chevalier, who is on a +3, or Andrew August on a +2. Okay, so the initial breakaway didn't really make it, and I had a chance to put Rémi Capron in a second attempt to form a breakaway. I did that, and he's now at the front of the race with 7 other riders. With still a long way to go, the lead of the breakaway appears to have stabilized between 6 and 6.5 minutes. I don't think we are going to make it to the end, but with Capron on a good day, maybe he can try something special. So if I want to make this work with Rémi Capron, I think I'm going to have to try to go solo with him, and I am going to attack at this point. Let's try to leave the others behind, or maybe take just 1 or 2 with us, and then work together to the end, because otherwise we are going to be caught by the peloton. So I unfortunately and by mistake failed to record the final 15 kilometers of the race. Rémi Capron was eventually caught by his breakaway companions and then by the peloton. He was then setting the pace in the peloton, or in that group, in that large group. We had an attack by Alessandro Covi and Baggioli. Vincenzo Albanese trying to follow as well. I moved my riders to the front and trying to catch Baggioli and Covi, and Covi launched a second attack. And with about 8.5 kilometers to go, Covi's lead was of about 20 seconds. A few other riders like Pidcock tried to go as well. Bilbao was trying to do the same with Lutsenko as well. I was in a bit of a poor position. I was not properly positioned with 6 kilometers to go, a lot of riders ahead of us, so I tried to push hard at this point. And entering the final climb, I had Andrew August pulling Chevalier, but then August would be done. I then at some point tried to follow the wheel of, I think, Baggioli. Yeah, but Chevalier for some reason was stuck behind August instead of going to the wheel of Baggioli, and I couldn't really do anything from this point onwards. Covi took the win ahead of Lutsenko and Tom Pidcock, and the best we got was 10th with Maxime Chevalier. Once again, he fails to deliver, and he's going to finish the season without a single win. I'm not sad at all for not keeping him for 2024. This was, of course, always going to be tricky. The route was very hard, and the start list was really strong, but we still managed to beat Remco Evenepoel. 2 races left in today's video. Both are flat classics, both are sponsor objectives, and both start in Paris. The first one is going to be Paris-Bourges. And again, we are going to face some really tough opponents, including the world champion Christophe Laporte. For this one, we are taking Alexis Brunel, Rémi Capron, Alexis Goujard, Jérémy Lecroc, Pierre Thierry, Oliviero Troye, and Luca Wackerman. All we need is a top 10 in this one, but I am confident that on his +4, Jérémy Lecroc is going to deliver the win. Having said that, I just had a quick look at the finish line, and with a roundabout about 200 or 300 meters from the finish line, this will not end up well for us. And just a quick note for Christophe Laporte's World Champions jersey, it suits well on, we have the bright light thing again, but it suits well on a jumbo kit. And yeah, he definitely has me to thank for this. As in the previous ones, we still have a group of breakaway riders up the road, 1 minute and 20 ahead of the peloton with 26 kilometers to go. I have my riders assembled as a train, but I think I'm going to choose the wheel of either Christophe Laporte or Arnaud Desmar for the end. We have a few attacks with Cosnefroy, Anthony Tourgy trying to go, and with 8.5 kilometers left, still 35 seconds to the 9 riders up the road. I have Wackerman doing most of the work. We are the team working. We are well positioned on the wheel of Laporte. If Laporte does not drop behind too much, we are going to be in great condition to try to challenge if we catch the riders up the road, because that's not looking like it's going to happen. Let's up the effort with Troya to 95 right now. Try to increase the tempo in the peloton to catch the riders up the road. Vacek is going to take this. I'm pretty certain of that at this point. He is going to win. Oh, this was not well played by anyone, not by me and not by the breakaway. We have the first roundabout here. There's another one. And in the final 500 meters, let's go with Jérémy Lecroc. And Vacek is celebrating. We were on the wheel of Laporte, who finishes, actually not second, he finishes third behind Nasser Bouhani. We are only 7th with Jérémy Lecroc. And so Matthias Vacek, and not Vacek, as I said before. I'm pretty sure that if I was wrong, my good mate Berger will correct me. But Matthias Vacek takes the win for Trek Segafredo. Trek Segafredo? Oh, I did not correct this. I need to edit the database. The jersey is correct, but I did not correct the name after they changed to Little Trek. He takes the win ahead of Nasser Bouhani and Christophe Laporte. We finished 7th only. It was not perfect at the end, and the roundabouts did not help. But I mean, with World Tour teams in this race, why was I the one pacing to catch the breakaway? But we still completed another sponsor objective, and we are now going to have our final race of the first season and the final sponsor objective, which is in reality the most important sponsor objective of the entire season. This is potentially when I'm going to fail, because looking at the list of favorites with Mats Pedersen, Kasper Asgreen, Mathieu van der Poel,
Stefan Kung, Alexander Kristoff, Jasper Philipsen, Florian Sénéchal, Anthony Tourgy, Jasper Stuyven, and Max Walscheid.
This is, on the perspective of Evian Castelli, of course, an horrendous start list because it is super strong. It's going to be very tricky to get the top 10 that we need in this one, but it would be amazing if we manage to get this and finish the season with a full list of sponsor objectives completed. In order to achieve that, we are going to go with Alexis Brunel, Alexis Goujard, Jérémy Lecroc, Brodie McDonald, Pierre Thierry, Oliviero Troye, and Luca Wackerman. And under heavy rain, we start Paris Tour Elite. It is not the best day for Jérémy Lecroc, is only on a +1 day today, and again we have this, but aha, I used the trick. I had to check the comment that was left a few videos ago on YouTube about how to solve the thing with the bright light. So it's Control T. When that shows up, if you press Control T, you get rid of those lights. So I really appreciate the help with that comment. It's very, very useful. So I decided against going in the breakaway for this one. There are 15 riders up the road, 4 minutes ahead, with still 130 kilometers to go. but considering how strong the start list for this race is, I'm not expecting them to be allowed to get to the finish line ahead of the peloton. And in a matter of a few kilometers only, Luca Wackerman crashed twice. He crashed the first time, he dropped out of the peloton, he got back, and as soon as he got back to the peloton, he crashed again. And at this point, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to come back. Maybe I drop Alexis Goujard to help him out. And we are now 50 kilometers from the finish line and about to enter the first few climbs with some cobbles as well. I'm not sure if these are cobbles. No, yeah, there are gravel sectors, but identified in the game as cobbles in order to actually have an impact in the game. So this is where the fun begins, and hopefully Leclerc can survive and can challenge in the final sprint. And after the first few climbs and gravel sectors, we had our first major attack with Jasper Stuyven gaining a 30-second lead over the peloton that is being led by his own team. Oh, and we now have Mathieu van der Poel attacking with Mats Pedersen and Stefan Kung. That is an important attack. There are now 24 kilometers to go, and we have a few more riders attacking. We did not manage to follow the group with Stuyven, Kung, Asgreen, Van der Poel, and Mats Pedersen. 18 kilometers to go as Caden Groves and Vauquelin are trying to push, and for some reason Troya got blocked there. I'm not really sure why. I'm the one setting the hardest tempo here. Why is Alpecin at the front here? Are they chasing the group with Van der Poel? So we have a group of 7, then a group of 5, and then our group, the peloton, with 37 riders. I can't go harder than 85 with still 14.5 kilometers to go. And we are now on the final little climb of today, and with 11 kilometers to go, we have a few attacks. Even Garcia Cortina is going away with Mathieu van der Poel. They are trying to go together to the end. I do not think we are going to be able to catch them. Let's go at 90 with Alexis Brunel, but this is going to hurt Jérémy Lecroc quite a lot. And we caught Mathieu van der Poel and Stefan Kung, but at the front we have Ivan Garcia Cortina, and 10 seconds ahead of him, Mads Pedersen is still in contention. Let's try to follow the wheel of Jasper Philipsen, maybe with Jérémy Lecroc, although I'm not being able to do that. Let's do it now. We cannot do that. Why are we not allowed to follow that wheel? Let's try to move to Christoph. We are allowed to do it now. With 4 kilometers left, I left the energy gel for way too late. Mats Pedersen with 2.5 kilometers to go is going to win. Mats Pedersen is now in the final kilometer, and we are on the wheel of Alexander Christoph. Can we try to finish on the podium? I do not think that is going to happen. Pedersen takes the win ahead of Jasper Philipsen and Nasser Bouhanni finishing on the podium. We are going to be not 8th, we are 9th only, but we do complete the sponsor objective and we get a 100% record of completion. And so Mats Pedersen takes an incredible win for non-Segafredo Trek, 22 seconds ahead of Jasper Philipsen. After attacking in the final kilometers, we finish 9th with Jérémy Lecroc, complete another sponsor objective. That's quite good. But I mean, yeah, we don't really have a sprinter good enough to compete with all these riders. So 9th is not that bad. I really do think I found something special with trying to follow the wheels of other sprinters and still have a parallel train of my own. So trying to control the peloton, pushing hard, but in a way keeping Lecroc a little bit more conserved and in a good position on the wheel of the other good sprinters. And so again, a big shout out to Kimberly for actually suggesting this in the comments, because it's been so enjoyable to play like this. At the beginning of the video, I mentioned I was going to go through the transfers for the next season, but in order to keep the video a little bit shorter, because it's probably already going to be long enough, I'm just going to show the main transfers. And we have Fabio Jakobsen leaving Soudal Quickstep to join Jumbo Visma. We have Miguel Angel Lopez going for EF, Michael Woods joining UAE, Hugh Carty for Groupama FDG, Remy Cavagna, a great signing for Tudor Pro Cycling, pro cycling. Matteo Jorgensen moves from Movistar to Eolo. We have Mark Hirschi leaving UAE for Israel, so it's a swap between him and Michael Woods. Marc Soler goes to the Ineos Grenadiers. Niels Pollitt joins Team DSM. Laurens de Plus goes for Jumbo-Visma. I think again, wasn't he there before already in his career? Maybe I'm mistaken. And Nasser Bouhanni also joins UAE. As you can see, Nairo Quintana is also joining Cofidis, so it's a great signing for them. And you can pause this video as you please to check all the names that you want to confirm that are moving or staying in the same team. So I'm going to go through the main transfers, and if you have any rider you are curious about and want to know if he stayed in his old team or if he moves on to a different one, you can ask me in the comments or you can join the Discord and ask the question there. As for my team, these are of course the transfers that we have, and you already know the riders that are going to join us. These are the riders leaving. Jérémy Lecroc is signing for Saint-Michel Aubert, while Maxime Chevalier is going for Nice Métropole Côte d'Azur. Mattia Pinazzi is joining Siaz Rheim, while Brodie McDonald is going back home to America to Human Powered Health. The riders we are bringing for 2024 mean that Evian Castelli is from now on going to be a part of the Pro Continental peloton. We of course had an amazing debut season with loads and loads of wins for multiple riders. Not all of them managed to win, but we had some amazing results. We finished the season as the 24th best team in the world in terms of UCI points, and clearly the best continental team. Not renewing Jérémy Lecroc's contract is maybe a little bit unfair because he was the rider bringing the most points for us in the entire season. However, the rider that got the most wins for us was Alexis Brunel with a total of 7. The best rider in that regard was Miguel Angel Lopez, taking 20 wins in the entire season. As a team, we got a total of 27 wins, which is the 9th best record of all UCI teams. Tadej Pogačar finishes the season as he started, as the leader of the world ranking. Looking at the biggest races, we had, of course, Kelderman, Gaudu and Pogačar winning the Giro, the Tour and La Vuelta respectively, as I showed you before. Primož Roglič and Remco Evenepoel were quite successful when it came to the one-week stage races, while in the monuments we had Arnaud Démare winning Milano-San Remo for the second time in his career, Pipo Ganna taking the Ronde van Vlaanderen, Dylan van Baarle the winner of Paris-Roubaix again, Adam Yates taking Liège-Bastogne-Liège, and finally Benoît Cosnefroy winning Il Lombardia. Just a quick look on the other classics, and we have Mathieu van der Poel taking E3, Matej Mohoric winning Strade Bianche, a really surprising Jonas Vingegaard winning La Flèche Wallonne, and so with the end of the season, that is going to be it for today. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and if you have, don't forget to hit the like button and leave me a comment down below. It really helps the channel out, and as you saw today, it also helps me while playing the game. If you are only now coming to the channel, you are more than welcome to subscribe to it and to watch the previous episodes of this first season. I will hopefully soon be back with season 2, and until then, stay safe, stay positive. Until next time, goodbye.